I quit amphetamines 5 days ago, and benzodiazepines and tons of mind-altering substances that I take to do my job.
I see.
And it got to the point Tuesday night where I passed the mirror and I looked at myself and saw myself clearly, but I wear prescription glasses. And I thought, oh my God, am I in a state of psychosis? Or am I thinking I see myself clearly, or what is going on? But no, I've been taking the HP regimen.
Oh my God, what a pest.
So, no, I mean, everyone who works at HP seems to have this, that's somewhere in there, combination of blood pressure meds, speed, and downers.
Yeah.
And I definitely am one to encourage nootropic to experience, mental growth and exploration. But God, I was taking that every day. And my doctor upped the dose of amphetamine. Dextroamphetamine is my breakfast because it builds a tolerance within weeks. So I went from taking 10 milligrams to taking over 40 milligrams of dextrometh. It just... And that's where I had to take a step back and say, wait a second. My God, all drugs really do is trigger things that are already inside our minds. And I just looked at this becoming worse. And then I go into the doctor. Darren, your blood pressure continues to drop, but it's still a concern. Well, yeah, doc, you're prescribing speed. So that's been my past 5 days. Has been a heavy detox, and it's been hard. I feel hot, I feel cold, and then I feel really good to feel like shit because I feel, and I haven't felt in 6 months.
Wow.
So I actually did begin psychotherapy this week. Interestingly enough, putting that quote in there. My employer pays for therapy. It's not purposeful. I'm doing it for the greed of evil men. They treat people with disrespect. And it was this weird realization. I showed up to a meeting last week with my boss where he calls me out on figures that weren't asked for the meeting. And Darren, where are the figures for the territory results? Tell me the best case scenario for what you're going to be pulling in from Wisconsin, Illinois, higher education as well as corporate. Give me the best case, the worst case, and exactly where you're going to land on April 30th of this year. And I said, well, obviously, looking at the numbers here, the worst case scenario is 89.1% of the goal. The best case scenario is about, we're looking at about 118.6. If you take a look at the average aggregate across the spend between the states, considering the spend between the... You know what? Does anybody really want to go on further with this, or can I talk about the deals I'm actively pursuing? And he said, no, that's excellent. What was the point of this exercise? And that's part of what consumed last week, and I thought, that is just silly. Part of the motivation was to learn, part of it was money. I gave a lot more than myself than I charged for because I love the work. There's something about that. It's a world of bullshit. It allows me to stay in that zone for longer than I should have. The world is much bigger than any of this. I left Dell with a soul that needed to be nourished. Dove into Second City for a year. Felt great about it. Then when I stopped taking the speed, I drove over to Denny's. For some reason, it's increasing instead of decreasing it. And I'm sitting there, and I'm eating this burger, and this old couple comes up. They're 80s or something. And the guy's just smiling at me. He says, I want to thank you. I said, oh, hey, what's up, dude? He said, no, I didn't mean to disturb you enjoying your burger, but I just got to thank you for being such a beautiful person. I got to tell you, the smile on your face while you're just enjoying this burger and looking back and forth at your computer, it just really made me and my wife smile. If you don't mind, I'd like to introduce my wife, Pam. And like, hi, nice to meet you. So I wish there were more people like you just smiling and bringing this energy around. And that felt so much more purposeful than cramming product. I moved 50 million last year. I used a lot of speed. Did a lot of deals. When you consider what I got paid for what I brought in, I did it out of love. They just moved my quota up on mobile workstations a ton. Now I say ton literally. I did the math. I have to move an additional 2,240 pounds of mobile workstations. I sell a computer that's 8 pounds, a laptop. In this market of ultralights and Chromebooks, there's no proof I ever graduated high school. I've worked for 2 Fortune 50s I never even looked for. I mean, it was all social media. Dell was because of my photo blog, and HP, I mean, the videos helped. My boss's son is who reintroduced us. My manager I worked for. We've known each other at Dell. He calls me up and said, "Oh my God, Darren, I get the social media thing now." And between that and a few videos he found online, that was my whole interview process. I mean, it was 2 weeks. I didn't look for it. But those relationships became very vicious and fell apart. Darren, I don't even know what you're talking about. It was very hard because that was unkind. To have any type of negativity associated with it. Maybe a psychopath. I mean, how could he be so friendly? I mean, he didn't. It's not like afterwards he went out of his way to screw me. He held back that information. That's why I started making videos. The whole idea was, okay, I'll share like some of myself, and then people who care to like catch up have it right there. And that's why I started blogging 30 years ago. Just